Hey there, Kyle here. This is Rants and Reels. I am getting ready to walk into a theater and watch Kingsman, The Golden Circle. That's Kingsman 2. It's the sequel to the first Kingsman movie, naturally. So we're going to see how good this is, see if it's as good, or at least as enjoyable, as that first movie is. So, here we go. Well, that was a highly enjoyable film. Time to go home. Let's talk about that movie. Kingsman, The Golden Circle. Equally as enjoyable as the first one. The first thing I can say about that movie is they dialed it in. Matthew Vaughn really tightened everything up on this one. I do have some minor complaints about some character decisions that he made, but they're relatively minor complaints. There are some characters that were sidelined. I don't want to drop any spoilers, so I'm gonna be frustratingly vague about a couple of things. Unfortunately, I'd love to delve into detail, but that you can find in the review down in the video description. More spoilers, that is. Not really spoilers, but details. More specific details. So we tightened up the comedy quite a bit, and it was more finely tuned with the action and spy elements. So they really brought a lot of that in. There were a lot of callbacks to the first movie. So there were a lot of jokes, a lot of thematic elements that if you hadn't seen the first movie, you might not catch quite everything. Easter eggs, so to speak. But it's okay. You don't really need to watch the first movie because they very succinctly recap some of the more vital plot points. So they did appear to be cognizant of the fact that there are going to be some people who see the second one without seeing the first one, which I appreciate. I like when that happens. Even if it's just for people who don't quite remember what happened. But that was good. I thought that was shows a little bit of a appreciation for the audience, because not everybody is going to rewatch the first movie the day before they go see this one. So that's good. they really tightened the cast quite a bit. They worked much better together, and Jeff Bridges was, I think, absolutely hilarious in his portrayal of the leader of the statesmen, the U.S. version of the Kingsman. I thought his character was, without giving away too much, a little Lebowski-ish. So there was that, which I quite enjoyed. There is a very nice, I can't even really call it a cameo. I would liken it to what you got from Mark Hamill from the first film, from Elton John. He played a part in this movie as himself. Probably a bit of a caricature, but he really seemed to have fun with it, and I'm really glad that they let him go with what he did for the film. The story elements from this movie are, while they are remarkably similar to story elements from the first Kingsman film, there is enough to differentiate them that I didn't mind the similarities. They really, and there were a lot of things and a lot of elements that they really went for. You still have the eccentric evil genius, the eccentric evil organization intent on a sympathetic villain that isn't really trying to take over the world, but not necessarily trying to, in their mind, make it a better place. So it's an interesting twist. This one kind of centers around the drug war, the use of illegal drugs factors very heavily into this plot, and I can't help but wonder, not really wonder because it was pretty apparent, but I can't help but wonder if the intended statement on substance use and the drug war, I don't know if that was just a convenient plot device or if there was an actual statement being made. I got the impression that there really was a statement being made, which I appreciated because it was presented in a way that it could be digested easily, depending on your constitution, how easily you digest. Not quite a satire. Satire is not the word I'm looking for. It's escaping me, so I'm going to abandon that train of thought right there. Oh, it's raining. That's a nice editorial comment right there. The enjoyment of the story and the film and the action and the comedy is, I was very happy with it. I was joking with a friend of mine that I really want to call this film Magic Mike 3 because of Channing Tatum. Um, it doesn't work, unfortunately. I still really want to call it Magic Mike 3, but I can't. It didn't have dancing. There wasn't quite enough dancing, unfortunately. But it was still a film that I very much enjoyed. They kept a lot of what worked in the first. They seem to have abandoned some of what didn't seem to work, or at least what wouldn't have worked again. You can only repeat some jokes so many times without changing them up. But, I'm going to go ahead and leave this little train of thought and, deal with driving in the rain. Yes, I am going to be safety conscious. This episode of Rants and Reels cut short by a rainstorm. I've made it back to the home stretch here, so I'm just about to get back home through the rainstorm. Thanks for being concerned. But just one final word here before I get home and pour myself a nice glass of Kentucky whiskey and raise a glass to the friends we lost along the way and anal sex jokes. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the NerdDomePodcast.com for being gracious hosts while my site, Watch Play Read, got back up and running, where you're going to find my reviews. And go watch this movie, especially if you enjoyed the first Kingsman. But even if you didn't, still go watch this movie. You're going to enjoy it. Everybody should enjoy this film because it is very entertaining. It is very funny. And it's a good watch. And it's a good way to spend your time. Thank you for driving along with me. Thank you for listening to